Hello, guys, and welcome back to Exit or Die, the podcast where the builders behind old tech take us under the hood and tell it like it really is. Today, my guest is Markus Tatzer, CEO of Moon Power, one of the leading players in electric mobility and energy infrastructure in Europe. Moon is a 100% subsidiary of Porsche Holding, and they are doing what most others only talk about. So they are doing physical infrastructure for the fully electric future, from charging solutions to battery storage and grid integration. And it's not a cable startup. This is energy reimagined. Markus, great to have you on Exit or Die. So please give us your personal elevator pitch.
Hello and welcome. Thanks having me here. What else should I say? You mentioned the main points already. Would say I'm 28 years already in the car industry and having now the great chance being a big part of the transition to e-mobility. And I can tell you, it makes really a lot of fun.
Perfect. Yeah, I would say we directly start into the topic. Markus, everyone talks about e-mobility like the cars are the hard part. So, but the reality is it's the infrastructure. What are we still getting fundamentally wrong about charging?
It's not about getting fundamentally wrong, I would say. It's just more the mindset and the experience with it. There were so many reasons against e-mobility at the beginning, but to be honest, the industry solved all the open points. Now
Mm.
everybody thinks in the way of extreme means you need more than 500 kilometer of range, you need charging less than 5 minutes, but the reality is absolutely a different one. When we see that the car in average is driving less than 50 kilometers a day and stands more than 23 hours on the parking slot, you see it's
Mm.
not really a big topic. But the main point I think is really to include the charging in your daily routine. If you have the pleasure to have a wall box at home or on the work, then it's perfect. If not, you really need to see if I'm going to the supermarket, doing the shopping, the hairdressing, the football stadium,
Mm.
everywhere you can include the charging. And then you have the big advantage, you even don't have to go extraordinary for charging. So you do it in the daily routine. And if you really want to have a longer trip on the highway, I do this very often. I can tell you after 300 kilometers, you need to go to the toilet or grab a coffee. And after 15
Mm.
minutes, you will have again 300 kilometers to drive.
Yeah. So you guys are building B2B solutions, not just plugs for private homes. So what's the complexity there that most people do not see?
I would say B2B is really a different beast. It's not about just selling some hardware or installing some hardware. You need
Mm.
to make a fit. You integrate it with the building, with the fleet operations, the whole energy system, and you need to see the business model for the customer. It's all about uptime, scalability, and at the end, of course, it's about the return on investment. These companies doing investment for a reason.
Mm. Mm. And Moon is not just selling hardware, so you are offering full stack energy and mobility solutions, chargers, storage, management. So why go ecosystem instead of vertical specialization?
Because e-mobility for us is one part of a whole energy system. If you don't think the bigger picture, you will not leverage the whole potential of it. So you can't
Mm.
solve charging without solving the energy itself. You need the ecosystem to optimize across the entire value chain. So from solar energy starting, then you have the battery storage, the charging, and you need, of course, some energy management, some smart somehow to really have the whole potential and to deliver energy in an intelligent way.
Mm. Mm. So with all that, what you already mentioned, you have described Moon as a pioneer in the charging space. So what does pioneering look like in a market increasingly flooded with very big players?
In our understanding, pioneering means to be the first to connect the dots. Yeah. So we are focused on integration. It's more like building an ecosystem, and together with the whole car, the building, and the grid connection, you can unleash the full potential. So we are still early in combining the mobility and the energy in one seamless experience. So this is where we want to push boundaries. For example, if we now take the next big topic, which is bidirectional charging, um, we don't do this only on PowerPoint slides. We really have realized it. So you can come in the Moon City and we can show you immediately how bidirectional charging is working. And then if you see the car, not just something what delivers mobility, which is really a mobile storage, such a huge potential. And you will see this will be a game changer, how fast we will be with the e-mobility.
Great. Yeah. And all these things what you are currently mentioning, you guys are building all the stuff out from Austria, from Salzburg, but you guys are thinking European. So what does it take to grow regional infrastructure into a continental presence?
To be honest, it needs a deep understanding of the local energy landscapes. We are not like the United States where have regulated markets all over the continent. So it's not one market, it's, to be honest, 27 different markets. So
Yeah.
what we are doing, we build modular solutions that can adapt to different legal standards and grid conditions, and of course, customer needs. So the e-mobility growth is very differently from north to south and from west to east. For example, in Sweden, we are already working on selling energy from the car into the grid. And for example, on the Balkans, we are just starting building the infrastructure for fast charging. So there's a huge variety in Europe, and we need to see what is the best way in each country.
Mhm. You mentioned Sweden, so if I'm right, the Nordics are one of the best connected countries and with the best infrastructure for e-mobility. So it's hard to compare Austria market with the Nordics, right? So
Absolutely right. Everything e-mobility in Europe started in especially Norway, then Sweden. They are really on a very, very fast track. I think Norway will be this year achieving the 100% BEV sales. So already every single new car will be electric. In Austria, this year we increased also, but we are on 22%. So yeah, there is a huge variety. And if you go even deeper to the south, we have markets we are less than 1%.
Mhm. Yeah, speaking about the market, so what markets or partnerships are you watching closely in terms of policy shifts or electrification momentum?
We started this year in Italy and Poland, so we have now around about 20 countries where we are. But Italy and Poland, we will see really the next two big players on the market. We see huge potential there. For next year, we are really checking France and Spain. France is super speeding up there. But as you already mentioned, Nordics here are the leading, and so all kind of new innovations we are really testing always in the Nordics, and there is the starting point for innovations. But also we never forget our home countries. So especially in Germany, we really want to become there a bigger player.
Mhm. And for such a big vision, it definitely needs a very good structure. So let's talk about the structure. So Moon is a subsidiary of Porsche Holding and not just a startup. So how does that shape how you scale, hire, and experiment with this?
I would say it gives us a unique edge. So we have the agility of a startup, but the backbone of a global group. So that means we can, on one hand side, move fast, but with confidence. We get the trust of the customers. And so that's the reason why we can somehow attract big projects, but also top talents to hire, because we are building something what should really last for long term.
Mhm, mhm. Um, Does being a part of an car giant ever limit how fast you can move, or does it give you a real unfair advantage others do not have?
I would say it's a trade-off, but it's a good one. So we benefit definitely from the industry knowledge we have across all the networks, the countries, and the long-term thinking where we are in the market. But of
Mhm.
course, we also have many, many guidelines in the whole Volkswagen group and regulations to fulfill. So governance, but the governance is with a purpose. So and when we need to move fast in the industry, we are able to that.
Mhm.
The main part is the DNA of Porsche Holding is always entrepreneurial as its core.
Mhm. Okay. Great insight. So we are already coming to the fastest part of our Exit or Die podcast. So we call it the Exit or Die Rapid Fire. So it's a quick fire round, 5 questions from my side and your gut reactions. Um, the number one would be the most overrated EV topic right now.
The fear of range. It's still there, but it's fading fast. We see the range of the cars exceeding quite quick. We have now cars with more than 800 kilometers of range. And on the other hand, the infrastructure is really catching up. In Austria, we have already more than 30,000 public chargers. If you compare this with petrol stations, we just have 1,700 petrol stations in Austria. And if you see how
Mhm.
many cars on the road, 3 million combustion engine cars and 300,000 electric cars. So we really see there's a good relationship between electric cars and charging infrastructure.
Yeah. My number two would be the most underrated tech in the energy transition.
I already mentioned it. It's the bidirectional charging. It will be a game changer. And the car is
Mm,
also a storage. You will have a breakthrough because then you have a second purpose to buy a car.
yeah. One law or policy you would rewrite overnight.
Simplifying the permitting for charging infrastructure. To be honest, this is still something what somehow costs a lot of energy to get all the documents and approvals done. It's a
Mm,
bottleneck.
yeah. And I definitely can imagine there are a lot of more laws what you would rewrite.
True.
Yeah, the number four is the hardest part of building in e-mobility.
Changing the mindset. You have the pioneers, they were quite easy. Then you had the one you said, okay, um, we have the big advantage of company cars with the tax advantage. But now I would say the two groups are already catched, and now we really need to convince people who somehow still not ready for that. And changing the mindset is for sure the hardest part now.
Yeah. And the last one, everyone has someone uh, who inspires you. So, one startup in the energy or mobility sector that inspires you.
It's Octopus Energy. To be honest, they are coming from the Nordics and the UK. They're really somehow what Tesla did in the car industry. I think Octopus Energy will do in the energy industry. They're bold, customer centric, and tech driven. So they're doing a really good job.
Mm, okay. Um, yeah, I would say let's go back to Tesla. What you mentioned. So, can you give us a short overview or a short view in the future to compare US and Europe. So is there a potential that we can reach the same high what Tesla, for example, already have? So
The industry changed already. It's no one in Europe is looking anymore to US. I think the government of Donald Trump somehow is slowing down a little bit the process. And even if you see
mm,
when Tesla did a new technology it's years ago, so it's really China. You have to watch China closely. They are with a
mm,
full speed doing a really good job, and I really see that brands which will now enter or already entered in Europe somehow they're really really tough.
yeah. And is it? I mean. everyone is talking about the technology of Tesla. It's the best technology. Cars can reach a lot of range and so on. So what do you think? Can we reach the same level until 2030?
In terms of software, for sure. In terms of electric
Mhm.
behavior, of course. I think the most important is that Europe starts having access to the source. So means we need our own battery modules. We cannot
Mm.
be somehow depending on China by batteries and depending on software by America. I think it's really important that Europe somehow waking up and building their own infrastructure on this level.
Mhm. So when it comes to or let's go back to laws and policy stuff and all the things. So what do you think does it really take from our government here in Austria? So I think we definitely have to rethink all the things. We have to be faster. We have to be more risky than others, right? So what does it really takes here? So do you have more insights on that?
Of course. So number one is very clear. We need more clarity. It does not matter who is now the prime minister in Austria by the elections to say, okay, once the electric cars are good, the next day we still should stick with our combustion engine. And on the third day, we are talking about hydrogen. I think we need clarity and we need an open race because I think if you make some restrictions to any kind of technology, it's absolutely the wrong way. It's very important to give clearness and also an open race. And I'm more than convinced the best technology will win at the end. And in this matter, I'm absolutely sure it will be electric. But why I'm sure it will be electric? Because it's not because of the sustainability or even that we say we do something good. I'm absolutely sure for electric cars because it will be much, much cheaper than any other technology. When we are comparing right now the production time of a combustion engine to electric, you have 9 hours electric car and 23 hours of a combustion engine. Then you have even less parts in an electric car, so all the service costs are much lower, and then the energy costs itself are even somehow much cheaper. So if you combine all of that, the total cost of ownership of electric car much much cheaper than a combustion engine. Therefore, that we are more making decisions in the politics what is really needed and not what do we think our people want.
Yeah, people want a car with a good range, right? So, um, do you think that the government grants what people can get for EV is a good part, or do you think it's not important to change the mindset?
First of all, I think we need to state clear that e-mobility is a technology and not a religion. Yeah, that's so important that we say you have a car and it can have different ways of how it will be driven. It can be still
Yeah,
combustion, it can be electric, maybe it can be hydrogen in the future, but it's not about some religion. This is the most important thing. So, and if we somehow keep the race open, then we will see the best technology will win. And the government should do exactly what they should do. They should guarantee a fair and open competition.
yeah, I totally agree. Markus, if you would have a wish for free, what would it be for the whole industry?
Uh, um, on the governmental part, I said already. On the
Yeah.
OEMs, the car manufacturers and the whole automotive industry, I think they should consider a bit more the four important things on this transition. It's all about when I see the whole energy system, it's about energy production, energy purchasing, energy consumption, and then selling the energy. And if you steer this and think in all your business concepts, all the 4 points and see the optimization in it, then we can have a much better leverage in the system. So um, this is from the industry. From the customer, what is my biggest wish from the customer side? It's just jump in the car and drive it. It's as easy as this because usually people who never drove an electric car and sitting once there, they are really so much positive surprised.
Perfect. Yeah, I would say I have one last question. If you could write one sentence on every investor's deck in the energy or mobility sector, so what would it say?
It would say the future of energy and individual traffic is electric. So invest in zero emission economy.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great wrap on today's Exit or Die podcast episode. Markus, big thanks for all the great insights, really fast and on point. Thanks again for showing us what it really takes to build the future of energy. Very important. I'm also agree that we need to change the mindset. We have to be more risky, and yeah, not just sell a dream of that, right? So my last sentence would be to all the other founders in the sector: infrastructure is hard, but it's also where the money, the power, and the transformation actually happen. My name is Peter, and that's Exit or Die. Thank you. Bye.